Hi, in today's video I'm going to be talking about the mpv package for Emacs that allows you to control mpv through its JSON interface. Basically, this is normally used for editing subtitled files so that you can jump to a position in the video using the timestamps in the subtitles file and basically correct any spelling mistakes or anything like that in the subtitles. And what I'm going to do is show you how you can set this up so that you control mpv, and also how you can seek to the millisecond in a video. So I just want to go through all these steps. So obviously first you've got to have Emacs and mpv installed, and after that what you're going to want to do is install the mpv package by running mx package install mpv. The other package that you're going to want to install is Hydra, which we're going to be using to create key bindings so that we can control mpv using Emacs. I covered all of this in a previous video and how I modified some of the code from the mpv package as well as the org timers package so that we can actually seek to the millisecond in a video, because by default it only seeks to the second. And what I wanted to cover here was how you can set up mpv, and also the difference between the different subtitle formats like VTT and SRT. So in this video I'll show you how to set everything up, but I just wanted to have a condensed sort of version of this. So basically what you need to do is install Hydra and mpv, and then if I come down here, what I've got is some notes on how to actually get this set up. So install mpv and Hydra, and this is the code that you would add to your Emacs file. And basically what this does is sets it up so that Emacs can control mpv to the millisecond, and we basically define a mpv mode using Hydra so that we can control mpv and seek in the video. And what you need to do first of all is actually edit your mpv.configuration file and add osd-fractions. So the location of that should be in your home directory .config mpv.config. If you're using something like the Mac, the path may be different, but on Linux that's what the path is. So in your mpv configuration file you need to add osd-fractions, and after you've done that, what will happen is when you open a video, so I'm going to open up Big Buck Bunny here, what you'll see in the terminal here is the timestamp, and you'll see the format that it's in, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. And when you're in mpv, what you can do is you can press capital O on the keyboard, and what that will do is it will show the on-screen display in the terminal but also in the mpv player. So you can actually come here and pause, and what you can do is press the comma and period keys on the keyboard to actually step forward a frame, and it's slower when you're seeking backwards than seeking forwards in the video. And this is just something to do with it has to decode the frames backwards or something, so it's slower. But if I press the period key, you can see here I can advance by the frame. So this is how we can show the timestamp with milliseconds in mpv. So that's the first thing that we need to do. And again, you have to press capital O on the keyboard when mpv is focused, and that will show the timestamps in the mpv player. And that's useful because there are sometimes when you don't launch mpv directly from the terminal, so you won't have the terminal output here. So that's the first thing that we needed to do, was set up mpv to show us the milliseconds in the on-screen display. And now the next thing I want to cover is actually the difference between subtitle formats. So you have different subtitle formats, like with different file extensions. So you have .srt, and you also have .vtt, which are what are called web subs. So the difference is in SRT subtitle files, the time format is slightly different. So what we've got here is 00:005, 080. So in SRT files, the delimiter between seconds and milliseconds is a comma, whereas ffmpeg and other tools expect a period. So I'm just going to switch across to the VTT caption. So this is a VTT caption subtitles file for Night of the Living Dead, which is a public domain video. And what you can see is it has basically up here it says, web VTT, kind captions, language English, and it has a slightly different format. So as you can see, the delimiter here is a period, and that's good because that's the format that players like mpv and tools like ffmpeg would expect. So that allows us to actually seek to the millisecond using these timestamps, whereas the SRT timestamps, because they have a different delimiter, it's the way I've sort of written the override script that I covered basically doesn't pick up the comma. That's one thing I wanted to mention. So what I'm going to do now is switch back to a couple of demos. So what I've got here is Night of the Living Dead subtitle file. So this is the web VTT file. Now, the way this works is, this package works is you have to launch mpv from an org file. So when you open mpv normally and play a video, it doesn't enable the JSON interface, which is what we're using to control mpv. So this mpv package for emacs, it enables the JSON interface when you start a when you open a video from an org document, and we have to do that so that we can actually control mpv. So what I'm going to do now is run meta-x mpv-play, and then open Night of the Living Dead, and I'm just going to pause it and just see if I can get this to go side by side. Okay, so what I've got here is Night of the Living Dead open, and what I'm going to do is I have a mode set up so that when I press F2 and if I now press space, what you'll see is we have this little section down here, and this is what's called a hydra. And what's happening now is that it's intercepting these keys and sending them to the JSON interface for mpv, and basically allowing us to control it. So normally you'd have to have mpv focused, and then you could use your keyboard shortcuts to seek back and forwards in the video, pause, play, that sort of thing. But as you can see here, I've got, I need to go back in the mode now. I've got emacs focused, and I can press these keys down here to seek backwards and forwards in the video.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, so what I can also do is actually jump to the timestamp. So now I'm in this mode here where it's controlling mpv. If I press any key apart from the ones that I've defined, which are listed down here in red, H, J, K, and L, and that's what I'm using to seek. Then we've got spaced play and toggle play and pause. I, which basically will insert the timestamp into the org document, so it will insert the playhead's current position in the video. So if I press capital O here, you'll see the timestamp up here. So that's what the I does, and Q will quit the video. So if I press any key apart from those, it will exit me from the mode. So if I press like D, you can see now I'm back in the normal Emacs buffer. And what I can do is I can actually jump to these timestamps here, because what there is there's a function in this MPV package called seek to position, and basically the way it works is when your cursor is on a timestamp, you can on mpv seek to position that point, okay? But that's a bit of a long thing to type out. So what I've done is define a keyboard shortcut that runs that function. So if I run Control X, comma, it's going to jump to this time point. As you can see here, it's actually slightly off, and I think that is the format of the format of the video. Actually, what the issue is these are sort of manually defined timestamps. What you can also do that I'll show you is use scene detection with ffmpeg. And actually seek to a sort of exact point, but because these are sort of human sort of human input, as it were, the it's not matching up with the sort of keyframes in the video. So when you run scene detection, it will actually detect the actual keyframes and stuff. But because these are just subtitles, sometimes this seeking might be slightly off. But as you can see here, what I can now do is actually search for a particular string of text, so what someone says in the video. So what I'm going to do is search for "they're coming to get you, Barbara." So coming to get you, Barbara. So what you can see up here is actually listed here, "they're coming to get you." So what I can do is actually have my cursor on this point, this timestamp, and seek that position. So what I'm going to do first of all is play the video, and then I'm going to come back here and run the keyboard shortcut.
Get you, Barbara. Coming to get you, Barbara.
So if I just keep running the keyboard shortcut when it's on that point, I'm going to keep coming back to this point.
Stop it!
That makes sense. So when the cursor's on that, oh, I just deleted it. When the cursor's on this point, I can run the keyboard shortcut Control X, comma, and it's going to run the seek to position at point function, and so it's going to seek to that bit in the video. So as you can see, it's not going to, because the this isn't done to sort of keyframes, it's just done some when the speech is it's not going to be quite as accurate, but it still will sort of seek to the millisecond, whereas by default it seeks to the second with the MPV package. So this is how you can come down. So here it says, "Stop it, you ignorant, they're coming." So
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you.
Stop it!
you can actually see it's jumping back to that point.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
So it's useful that you can either jump to a point like that with your cursor over the timestamp,
They're coming.
or you've got the ability just to go through, scroll like that, and then basically, as I said, as you can see, Emacs has got focus, not MPV here. You can see I'm not focused on MPV when I'm using these keyboard shortcuts. I'm focused on Emacs, and Emacs isn't accepting sort of input, because it's in this MPV mode that we've created that now allows us to use these keyboard shortcuts to control MPV. And again, if I press any key apart from these ones listed down here, it's going to exit the mode. So like I press E, and now I'm back at this normal Emacs sort of prompt, you know, buffer, and I can come through and jump to the timestamp, and then basically the keyboard shortcut that I've defined is F2. So I press F2, and then you can see I'm getting this little which key prompt coming up, showing me some of this stuff.
For you, Barbara.
Stop it.
And you can see I'm still in the mode.
Like ignorant.
So that's subtitle files, and if I want to quit this video, I can just press quit. I can just press Q for quit, like that, and then press E to exit the mode. So what I'm going to do now is show you timestamps that were created with ffmpeg using its scene detection filter, which I covered in a previous video. And basically I wrote a script to make this easier to use. And what these are is timestamps that correspond to all the cuts in the video. So what I can do is I can open mpv, if I run emacs mpv-play, and one big buck bunny. See if I can get it to go side by side. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got Emacs has got focus. So what I can do, this is paused at the moment, so I can put my cursor over any of these timestamps, and what I want to do first of all is press capital O, and if I run Control X, comma, you can see it's jumping to the exact timestamp. So that's what I was talking about, is the ability to seek to an exact frame in the video, and making sure that we've that the syntax that we've got with this mpv package is correct for things like ffmpeg and mpv. So as I said, this is the format that's being output by ffmpeg for this scene detection, and this allows us to, if I can hit the right keyboard shortcut, jump to the exact frames. So I can press function F2. Now I can play this, and I can come across and, you know, control this like this. And that, when it's playing, what I'll do is I'll just, so I can actually go through these timestamps and just jump to them. So if I want to jump to that point, so you've got kind of two different modes. You've got one where you're sort of interacting with the timestamps, and then you can just hit F2, and you've now entered this MPV mode where your keyboard short input's being sort of redirected to MPV, and you can then fast forward, go, oh yeah, I want to, you know, want to find a particular scene. Okay, I want to find this. Maybe you want to find this bit. So see, we're at 528. So if I just come down to 528 somewhere around here. They can just basically go to timestamps and sort of replay the video from that point. So as you can see, you can just come through, find positions. As you can see, you can just jump to any of these positions and basically find the correct cut. And you can see you've got the on-screen display showing you the milliseconds, so that you can, if I just come back to the exit the mode there, so you can basically jump to any position in the video, and that's just really convenient because you've got kind of two modes. You've got the mode when you press F2, and basically these are keyboard shortcuts that the same as I've defined in MPV. So if I come to my MPV input, what I've got here is the key bindings that I use are sort of like Vim key bindings. So we've got H, J, K, and L. So L will seek forward 5 seconds, H seeks back 5 seconds. Then we've got K, which seeks forward a minute, and then J that seeks back a minute. So also the J and K keys are also used by the subtitles. So you're going to want to redefine those as capital J for cycle subs and capital K for cycle subs down, because they conflict. But those are the key bindings that I use to seek through a video. And those are the same keyboard shortcuts that I've created with Hydra, so that I can basically seek through the video. So those are a couple of things that I wanted to cover, is how you set up MPV to show milliseconds, how you can actually show that in the player as well as the terminal by pressing capital O. And the other thing, of course, is if I try and let's see, right, Big Buck Bunny. So I've got Big Buck Bunny open here, and Emacs open over here. If I try to control this video that I've opened from the terminal, it's not going to work. And the reason for that is because, as I said, it's not creating the JSON interface when you just use MPV to open a video. It's the package, the MPV package, that sets up the JSON interface, allowing you to control MPV. And basically it sort of takes your sort of keyboard shortcuts that you've created and it will sort of send them over to MPV. So again, if I run mpv-play, mpv-play, Big Buck Bunny, and fiddle about getting this to go, right, okay. Now you can see I can control it. So again, it's only going to work if you've actually run the mpv-play command from inside an org document to open the video, because the package, as I said, sets up the JSON interface. And again, what we have here is the hydra that lets us create this mode that we can use to control MPV like that. And what I'll do now is just go through the bit of code. So this is the code I showed you in the previous video. But basically, this is the code that's recommended on the mpv.el wiki on GitHub to use with the package. Basically, it sort of sets up opening the file with MPV, and this is the bit of code, this mpv milliseconds, that basically hacked away at to get the org timers and the mpv.el package to seek to a millisecond. And again, here's the keyboard shortcut I was talking about. Basically, this is Control X, comma, and this runs the mpv seek to position at point function, which is this one here. And what I had to do was actually alter the regular expression here to also search for dot after the time string. So normally it's 00 colon 00, etc. So I had to modify that to search for dot and then some digits, and also changing the mpv insert playback position so that it used float time instead of round time, because by default what it does is it rounds up to the second. So what I had to do was change it to use float time and alter the regular expressions, define this keyboard shortcut so that when you're over a keyboard a timestamp, you can just hit Control X, comma, and it will jump to that timestamp in the video. And then this is the override for the org timer function that comes with org mode. So again, basically what I had to do was sort of split some strings. I had to get it to search for a period and then split the string so that we had the hours, minutes, seconds, and then the milliseconds, so that we could append the milliseconds to the sort of the output format here. So I also had to change the output format so it's 00 colon 00 colon 00 dot milliseconds. And again, what we also had to do was create a timer for hours, minutes, and seconds to seconds. And so again, what I did basically here was create this another regular expression group and set that in here so that matches the dot milliseconds. And then in this code down here, what I do is append the milliseconds to the calculation. So it does all the calculation and just adds the milliseconds on at the end. And this is the hydra that I created, which is basically F2, because it's actually really difficult to find a keyboard shortcut that's not used by Emacs. And again, these keyboard shortcuts correspond to the ones I use in MPV. So we've got the same one. So this will basically seek backwards 5 seconds, seek backwards 60 seconds, seek forward 60 seconds, and seek forward 5 seconds. And these are functions that are from the mpv.el package. And the other thing I was looking at, and I actually did get to work once or twice, but for some reason it throws an error now, is you can also seek forward a frame and back a frame with mpv. And the command that is used by mpv to do that is called frame back step and frame step, to go back a frame and forward a frame. And there is a function in the mpv.el file called mpv run command, which should let you basically run a mpv command by giving it the sort of, the name of the command. So what I did was create these keyboard shortcuts for comma and period, which are the default ones to go back and forward a frame, and tried using this mpv run command to go back and forward a frame, but for some reason I got it to work once and then couldn't do again. And also it didn't seem to pause after you'd press the command. It would carry on playing, which normally you can go back and forward a frame and it will actually sort of stay on that frame and pause. So that's one thing I needed to actually figure out how to get around. So if you've got any, if you have a look at the mpv run command in the mpv configuration file, so this is the mpv.el file where I'm sort of overriding some stuff, and you can see I come through here. These are some of the functions here. So it's speed, volume, seek, and what you'll see down here is this is the section mpv start that actually creates the Unix socket that will interact with the mpv JSON interface. So that's why the video only is controllable if you open it with mpv-play inside an org document. Okay, and so this was the section I was talking about, mpv run command, then the command to mpv passing the remaining arguments, block while waiting for the response. And it's basically this section sort of was giving me errors, because you just should be able to put sort of, what is it, mpv step or whatever, frame step. But I think you must need to add something else here and rest arguments. And I can't figure out what that is to actually get this bit to work, because what would be nice is to be able to use those commands to actually go forward and backward a frame, so you can actually see the exact frame you want, because at the moment you can't do that. So that's the setup, and again that's what it's useful for. Is again I can open it, mpv-play, big black bunny. And once I've got it there, then I can run that keyboard shortcut and just jump to any of these frames. And let me just switch back here, and again, need to press capital O on the keyboard, because we haven't launched this from the terminal, so we haven't got a terminal to see the timestamps. Once you've done that, and if I come back into here, you can see it's jumping to the exact frames, whereas in the subtitle file it's not sort of defined by, you know, an actual keyframe in the video. It may be an audio cue point, so that's why it's not seeking as accurately with the subtitles file as it is with the scene detection, which is based on sort of an actual keyframe in the video. So as you can see, I can just basically come to any of these points, and it's going to be that exact point in the video. And this is also useful because, you know, of course you can just switch back to mpv and press S on the keyboard and take a screenshot. And as you can see, that's that frame there. So that's another thing you can actually use it for. And again, I press F2, space. So I can see here, like, here's 314. So what I can do, press like E, which is releases me from the hydra. And that's the timestamps, how the timestamps are more accurate than the subtitle files, and the reason why that is, and also the difference between the SRT subtitle files and the web VTT subtitle files is the delimiter between the hours, minutes and seconds and the milliseconds. In the VTT files, which are typically from sort of automatic subtitles, you know, things like YouTube, that sort of thing, we've got the period, and that allows us to seek to sort of that position. As again, the only sort of thing is it's not seeking to a keyframe, but the time's not going to be rounded up like it would be by default with the package. As I say, package rounds up the time to the second, so if you're at like point, you know, 600, it's going to round it up to the next second. So it may not seek to the keyframe, but it's still going to seek more accurately. And again, we can just run mpv-play and Night of the Living Dead. Faff about trying to get this to go the right way around. Okay, and again, we got these two modes. We've got the one where we can interact with emacs so that we can position our cursor on a timestamp and then jump to that point. And we've also got the hydra mode where we can actually like that, and again capital O, not there. In mpv, so we can actually see the timestamps here. And so what we can do is we can search for coming to get you, again coming to get you, and as you can see, this is another of the differences between the SRT and the VT subtitles, is that they're a lot more fine-tuned in the VTT subtitles. You've got multiple positions surrounding individual words, whereas you typically don't get that with the SRT subtitles. So we can position our cursor at any point in this timestamp, and you can see here they're coming to get you, Barbara. And so one of the things this is used for is actually editing subtitles. So I don't know if this will put this up, so I'll come back.
Stop it now, I mean it.
Okay, and let me just see if I can come back to that timestamp and see if it's actually picked up the... No, it's still actually... That's weird why it's actually got two. So now let's see if it kind of refreshes.
Stop it now, I mean it.
Oh, do you know? Yeah. I know what it is. The subtitle file is embedded in the org document, and so that's why it's not showing up there. So I've not been editing the actual subtitles file. I've been editing the embedded subtitles file in the org document. So that's one thing. I think you can't. I have to see if I can actually edit the VTT. I should be able to go to the point in the VTT. So this is the coming to get you, Barbara. Okay. So what I'm going to do is quit that and reopen it. So I don't think that's the only thing. Is you can, if I open this, try and open this, it's not in an org document. Okay. It's opening it from the subtitles file, but I had weird stuff with it not working in certain sort of permutations. But if I now run F2, yeah, okay, so I can control it and have the subtitles file open. So what I've basically done is, for the demo, actually insert the time codes and subtitles files into an org document so I could actually sort of present it. But what I'm doing now is opening the video from the subtitles file. So actually you don't have to open the video from just an org document, but you still have to open it from within MPV, and that's you know, my bad. So what I'll do now is come across here and exit the mode. So we're coming to get you, Barbara. So let's try changing that to Bob. And then what we can do is come across here, and no, it's still showing Barbara. So maybe it's this one here. So again, we've got two bits here.
Stop it now, I mean it.
See, not showing up. So I'm not sure what you got to do to actually get it to refresh in MPV. The subtitles, maybe MPV is kind of loading them up and into memory, and so it's not kind of picking up the changes. But you can have a subtitles file and actually jump to the positions in it in the video. So again, as you can see here, we've got the correct format. So these are all separated by a period. So you can jump to the positions in a subtitles file, and again there's a difference between the SRT and the VTT subtitles is the delimiter, and the regular expression that I set up to match the milliseconds doesn't catch the commas basically. Once it's playing, you can jump to all these timestamps. So that's sort of like a... And also what you can see here is these have a sort of range. So you have 2 timestamps. You've got that one. And there may only be like 20 or 30 milliseconds, but you have actually got a different sort of layout. Again, I can come down here and to this point.
It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. And
stop it. So that's just some things I wanted to cover with the difference between the subtitles, and my mistake is that you can open a video with MPV outside an org document. For some reason I thought you could only do it from within an org document. I'm not sure about within Diode here, the file manager for emacs. I've got something set up so that it automatically opens different file extensions with different programs, like, you know, MKVs will be open with MPV, you know, that will be open with something else, that's SKIV. And there's a chunk of code where it sort of runs mpv-play, and I'm not sure if you can set it up to automatically open the videos with mpv-play, and I think it may just be that it's conflicting with something I've got set up with Diode to automatically open the videos with mpv, which opens them without creating JSON interface. But for an mpv-play here, so that's just me opening it from the mini buffer, and if I run is that not working? No, so that wasn't working from, oh, you know what I think is, I think I'd got it set up and it opened it once in Diode and once in, okay, so I think what the issue was, I was actually opening it, yeah, I was opening it twice. But as you can see, I can open the video from the mini buffer and control it as well. Another thing is, I don't think the, yes, because we've got Diode open here. Another thing is, I don't think it works by default with external URLs. So this mpv-play doesn't work with remote videos on the web, basically. It only works with local files. So that's the mpv package, and basically what you need to do to get it set up. And again, I did a sort of a video on this, and how you get this set up in the code. But there were just a couple of things that I wanted to cover that I forgot to, such as pressing capital O on the keyboard in MPV to show the on-screen display showing the milliseconds, and whatever else I was talking about. But that's basically how you can get all this set up. And this is the the notes that I did for this video on how to install the packages you need to install and the code you need to add to your emacs file. And again, the one thing that I hadn't figured out was how to go forward and backward a frame in the hydra mode. So if you know what the issue is with this little bit here with the mpv run command, what I'd need to put here, maybe like nil or I don't know. I don't know any Lisp, so it does work. I've got it to work once, but then not again. So that's the one thing I need to figure out, so that you can go forward and backward a frame and have it paused, so that what you can then do is actually insert the timestamp from the playhead's the position of the playhead in mpv into a org file. So what this would allow you to do is go forward and backward a frame and then insert the timestamp into the document. And the problem I've got at the moment is I've only got play and pause, so not as accurate as doing it with the frame forward and backward steps. So that's the setup, and that's you know, the difference with the timestamps, which were, as you could see, were bang on, seeking to the millisecond, versus the format of the VTT subtitles, which isn't seeking to the exact point in the video. And again, it's because I think because it's done on sort of like the audio point as opposed to the keyframe in the video. So that's why it doesn't actually, you can't use it to seek to the exact millisecond in the video, but it will still seek more accurately using the modifications I've made, because, as I said, by default, what will happen is with the package, it rounds up the time to the nearest second, because the org timers package that comes with org mode doesn't support milliseconds. So that's why I had to alter it. And again, the other thing I wanted to mention was the difference between the VTT and the SRT subtitles was the delimiter. In the VTT, it's a period, whereas in the SRTs, it's a comma, which isn't picked up by the modifications I've made and the regular expressions to allow us to actually seek accurately to the millisecond with SRT files, like we can with VTT subtitled files, with the sort of caveat that you know, it's not using keyframes, so it's not as accurate as the actual keyframes generated using the scene detection. And that's just a couple of things I wanted to cover. And also, again, you can open the a video outside an org document, either from the mini buffer or from like a subtitles file, and you can seek to positions in a subtitles file as well as an org document. It was just that I've got these actually embedded here, so I didn't have to switch back and forth between loads of documents. So that's just a recap on mpv and emacs and how you can get set up, create the hydra to allow you to control the player, and also sort of jump to the timestamps so that you can actually sort of search through timestamps in an SRT file to actually find a particular phrase when someone says something, like they're coming to get you, Barbara, and you can then basically get the timestamps from that section that you could then use to trim the video or generate screenshots or anything else. But that's the mpv.el package, and just a couple of things that I wanted to cover that I didn't mention in the previous video.